Yo, what's up everyone, Akaraien coming to you with a new video. Today we're gonna go over Bridget. Bridget's been out for about like 2 to 3 days now, so I thought it was time to actually make a beginner's guide for this character, because a lot of people have been asking me, so I figured why not, let's do one. If you want to take this further and have any help, I also offer coaching for any Guilty Gear character, any skill level basically. You can check it out the meta file, links in the description. But let's go over it. So let's go over this character and what exactly makes Bridget so unorthodox and unique compared to the rest of the Guilty Gear cast. This character was promoted as a all-rounder, easy to play basic character, and they literally released one of the hardest characters in this game, in my opinion at least. Like, I don't know what's beginner friendly about this character in any way, shape, or form. I really don't, especially because the character is so different from everyone in the Guilty Gear cast. Let me go over what makes her different and how exactly she can be played. I've been playing this character like a rushdown character, and what exactly is weird about her or that in specific? This character to me is a rushdown setup character with long range. This doesn't make sense. Like in any like way, shape, or form, this usually would not add up. This would be like more of a zoning character, but because of like things like this, like, or like being able to set up 214S into that, like, you know, like being able to get to the opponent super fast, I highly doubt that this character is supposed to be played like a zoner, at least in my opinion. But yeah, so what exactly is weird about Bridget compared to every other Guilty Gear character? The weirdest thing about Bridget is that P buttons aren't really pokes. Every character in this game's fastest buttons usually are on P. For example, Chip's P is frame 3, Giovanna's P is frame 4, Kai's is frame 5, like the regular ones, and usually like buttons afterwards end up being like frame 6 or 7. Bridget, on the other hand, complete opposite. This is like frame 8 and frame 7 as far as I know, both of these, and this is frame 5 and frame 6. So her K buttons are actual escape buttons compared to these, which have more range. Usually like P buttons also have less range than K, so that is like really weird in and of itself. The other thing that is weird is that she has a double heavy slash and a double far slash. So for example, if I would press close slash, far slash, I would get this. Where with other characters, I wouldn't get anything right after. And it's the same for heavy slash, where I get 2 of them. Very weird. So for example, if you do this, close slash into far slash, you cannot link it to a heavy slash, which is something that you usually would be able to do. So what you have to do is close slash and then heavy slash into heavy slash as a combo. Or for example, 1, 2, and then the special right here if you want to follow up with it. So there's a bunch of like things that are weird about her, which nobody else in the Guilty Gear cast has or even close to. So yeah, the other one is that she has lots of multi-hits, but this is more just like a character thing, or like a general thing, rather than like a weird thing about the character. Usually like the character with the most multi-hits in the game was, I think, Giovanna, so the character I mained. So right here, for example, this is a multi-hit, this is a multi-hit, this is a multi-hit, then this is obviously a multi-hit, you know? So there's a bunch of things that are just multi-hits for her that you wouldn't even like think are multi-hits as well. So it's like Roger, for like this for example right here is a multi-hit if you hit it properly. Yeah, like right here this is a multi-hit instead of like just a singular one. So like stuff like that is just really weird. But yeah, let's talk about how to actually play Bridget, because you know all of this is nice and well, but we won't actually get anywhere with this if I'm just going to talk about all the weird and quirky things that this character has, you know. Roundstart. What do you usually want to press at Roundstart? What is your focus? What is your goal? For me, the Roundstart options that have worked the best are 2S, 5P, 2P, 2K, and literally just walking away for the most part, and then trying to use like anything like far slash or heavy slash usually is a good idea to just whiff punish whatever they threw at me, are like the best options really. One of the options that I use the most actually, which I thought is a really good option, which covers basically everything your opponent does, is you do an instant backdash into 236H, because no matter what they will press here, unless they literally dash at you directly, they will get hit, like no matter what, like they will guarantee get hit here. And then you can set up your pressure by like going in immediately if you want to, or baiting it by using Roger, like stuff like that. So there's a bunch of options you can do afterwards to go in, and it builds like a certain amount of pressure layer. So those are like the rounds of options I like to fool around with the most and have had the most success. Usually what you try to do in neutral is to abuse your range. So actually after you've gotten this, right? In this scenario, what would I try to do then? I would try to use like my heavy slash, my 2S, my far slash, in order to keep my opponent out, like not let them get in, or rather said, I would try to get in against them for doing this type of stuff. And then what I would do is I would try to either set up the rollerblades so I can get in the position here, or what I would try to do is I would try to position myself way further outside of it to get like a specific setup going. Another thing is obviously what you can do is you can just completely ignore it and let them like do their thing, and you rather just place like a setup right here, you know? But usually what I try to do, because I play like a rushdown character, is try to go in. So what I would do is this, rollerblades. And here, one thing that's important to notice about the rollerblades, which a bunch of people don't know, is you can stop the momentum at any point. So for example, right here, if my opponent, like Kai, right, would try to throw me after this, he would be perfectly able to, right? But now, let me do the same thing and just slightly go outside of that. Now I can do a whole setup here, or like a full conversion because of it. So it's going to be very hard for your opponent to actually know what exactly you're going to do here at all times. It's going to be incredibly difficult. So they won't just always just press a button here. You will actually have a lot more freedom and possibilities than you think you would have, because it's so easy to open up your opponent with this type of stuff. Just you can just stop like standing literally in front of them and just ignoring the throw, for example, or other buttons if you feel like it. So this is one of the things I usually try to do neutral. So my goal in neutral is pretty much evade whatever they throw at me, do a whiff punish, and then get in. And then if they try to do a throw or anything, I try to cover it, get into another like situation like this, and that's how I like to play it. Another way to do something and get into advantage state with this character is miraculously hitting this button. 2D is really good, and if you can combine it with 2K 2D even better. It's just really hard because of the range. Like, the range is really not that strong, and with everyone in this game having such long-reaching buttons, it is very hard to get this done, especially since Bridget's kit isn't really designed to be hitting you like around here. But let's say like through some wonder the situation occurs and you actually hit a neutral like a 2K 2D. Here's what you can do. 2K 2D, 214S, 214, very important, not 236 because 236 will hit beforehand, 214 will never hit beforehand. So you can do this, then you press JP, and you can get a low scenario right here. You can get another one, and you can continue it. Or you delay your button slightly for a high scenario. So essentially, this right here gives you a setup for a guaranteed high-low. The other thing you can do is you can hit this in the rollerblades in order to get them into the corner. I think this setup is only good in disadvantage, really. And you usually always want to go for the high-low here, because the high-low is just so dominant. Because you can get another like set of damage and get them into the corner properly. And the corner is where Bridget really shines. So you can basically vortex this over and over again to get them into the corner. And then as soon as you've done that, you can get the real pressure of Bridget going, which we'll go over right now. My game plan with Bridget, usually in the corner, is to use a lot of frame traps. And if you don't know what frame traps are, it's basically when you leave a specific frame gap for your opponent to mash in so they can get hit. So for example, if Kai would mash 2K, really easy escape option for him, right here, and you would do your block string. You see how nothing happens here because it's gapless. Now I'll open a gap, and now all of a sudden, because I left a tiny gap, Kai can get hit now for pressing 2K. So this is usually what I try to do to condition them to block, because what do I want them exactly to think and feel like? What I want them to feel like and think is that this person will always frame trap. So what can I do with this when they will stop mashing? I can get Uncle Roger out. And this button is fucking broken. And I'll explain why this button is broken. This one has 100 base damage, which is really strong for a throw, compared to a regular throw, which is only 70. So this is like really hard to get because you would have to dash up here, for example. You see how I'm like having to dash up here to get a throw. Now with Roger, on the other hand, I'm standing here, correct? Roger still works. I'm standing here. Roger still works. I'm standing here. Roger still works. Roger is a godsend because this character can just choose to command throw at any given moment. And you can condition your opponent to stay on the ground as much as possible with things like, for example, 236H, or 236S, or you can just keep them there over and over again until they will finally stop pressing, and that's when you can get Roger out. And with Roger, you can get some actual, like, really nasty conversions going afterwards with Roman cancel. And even if you can't, you can set up a 50-50 right here. So you can do boom, boom, boom. Like a guaranteed 50-50 after Roger, basically, so you can keep pressure going over and over, which is so fucking strong. Roger is basically the way, I feel like, with this character, because you can even do him in the air. So let's say, for example, you did this type of stuff. You can choose to do Roger whenever you feel like, and even if your opponent will do other options, you have this right here, which is 236K in the air, which then allows you to do whatever, and then you can get Roger, and then you can get the setup, and then you can get the 50, then you can on the throw. Like, the list goes on and on. Like, Roger is just so broken for this character. It's really, really strong pressure, and your opponent has to be constantly aware of Roger in specific. Like, the command grab is the one thing you have to be aware with 24/7 when fighting against a good Bridget, I feel like. Okay, let's go over what actually happens if you're disadvantaged, and this one actually isn't really that hard to figure out. This one's pretty basic, so I'll just show you like the very, very basic stuff you can do here. Your best escape play is usually 2k or 5k, and you just link it into either a 6k and then this to get into, you know, the middle of the screen, or you set up here into a 50-50 vortex, and what you can do here is then you can get them into the corner, right, with the 50-50 in the throw, or you get the high-low, and then you continue the pressure over and over again. You basically saw this already, right? That's one of the best ways to get out with her, because it's just the most consistent. And you can also do this, where you just poke them out, and then use your rollerblades, even though it's not true. A lot of the times they will just press, and I would suggest always using the P1, not the K1, because the K1 is super punishable. So in situations like this, you just use it as a safety net, where it's like, okay, like, let me see if I can get out like this, right? But yeah, what you can do, for example, to get out, because a lot of the time here this will not connect. So you do is you have to do 5p, 6k, and then that in order to get out, right? And with 2k 2d, you already know the drill. Pretty simple. You can do setup here, and you can get the 50-50 going, right? So those are like the two options. The other one is obviously her DP, and her DP actually is not all that bad. Like overall, it's a pretty solid DP. It just doesn't do a lot of damage, which is pretty sad. But this character overall is, I don't think, meant to do like a lot of damage off of stray hits, at least. So, you know, it's more like a combo character where you do like super long setups in order to like get your opponent down slowly but surely. That is the basics of Bridget and how exactly she should function as a character. I hope this helped as a guide. A lot of the combos right now aren't really set in stone, so I wouldn't really like try to make a bunch of combos to like give you guys. So one of the combos I can show you though, just like as a basic B&B combo to keep in mind, is 2k 2d, this into 50-50, and then you just press either like 2s or something afterwards, and then the rollerblades, or anything like that. That's usually like the way to go about it. I will show you one combo in the corner though, which is really strong with Bridget, that I've been using a lot, which is this right here. This is just a really strong setup overall, and you can get this off of a lot of things. Yeah, like close slash in general is a really good combo starter, because you can basically do whatever. And I've learned one counter hit combo that I can show you guys, which is really strong. So this is going to be my thank you for watching all the way to the end. I will show you the combo that I've learned, so you can start using that as well. So if you get a close slash counter hit in this game with Bridget, you can get this combo set up here. This is a super, super strong setup where you can decide whether you want to keep the pressure or not. So what you could do is like right here, you can do this, where you can set up something, or you can finish it like I did earlier, right? So this is like a really good combo. But yeah, this is basically my guide for Bridget. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel more than free to put in the comments. And I wish all of you a phenomenal day. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.